Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got some exciting news. I finally got most of the parts that I need in to get this turbo swap done on this tractor. I'm still waiting on a couple things. Unfortunately, I ran into a couple snags. When I pulled the cylinder head off, everything looked pretty dirty in there as far as the cooling system goes, and I was like, you know what, I should probably get this thing sent out to get boiled. So I brought it to the local machine shop, which is LRB Performance Machining in Hawthorne, New Jersey, who I highly recommend, by the way. Well, I sent it down to those guys. They told me that it looks pretty good, but needs a valve job, so they're gonna grind the valves, grind the seats. They say the guides are good, and give it a good cleaning for me. So I told them to take a good look at the freeze out plugs in the head just in case anything's rotten. And also I asked the owner, Lou, who's a cool guy, by the way, very knowledgeable. I asked him to take a look and see if there was in fact a difference between the valves on a turbocharged engine and a non-turbocharged engine, because there's not a lot of information as far as what people say online. There's plenty of people who think they know everything about these tractors, but the more I look into it, the more it seems like there's not as much different between the turbocharged version of the engine and the non-turbocharged version of the engine. So he's taking a look to see if it had different valves in it, being a turbocharged tractor. I think the metal he referred to was Inconel valves it would have possibly if it was turbocharged, but I'm waiting to hear back from him on that. And then also the other bad news, which it's bittersweet. My radiator, brought that to Hawthorne Industrial Radiator. I believe that's Butler, New Jersey, but I may be wrong. The link is going to be in the description below. For all these companies, all the parts I'm sharing with you today, I want to be upfront with everyone about who I dealt with, how I felt about the experience, and what I got out of it. And both the machine shop and the radiator shop, those guys are great. But the unfortunate thing with the radiator is I brought it down there. He thought it didn't look too bad just at a first glance, but he threw it on the test bench or whatever they do down there. I don't really know the process myself, but they tested it for leaks. They said the leaks weren't bad. The leaks were repairable. Wouldn't have been a problem to fix the leaks. But he figured before he went and cleaned it or fixed the leaks that they'd flow test it. And he said that radiator was so plugged that there's really no hope for it, because in the condition it's in, he didn't think it would survive a power cleaning. So now we're waiting on a radiator. And here's the bittersweet part though. The 8700, I guess it was optional that it could have had a 4-row radiator. If you're not familiar with radiators, there's different rows of tubes in it, and the thicker the radiator, the more rows there are, the more cooling capacity the radiator has. Well, this is a 3-row, so there's only 3 rows of tubes and through the radiator with all the fins and everything. Obviously the air flows through there, and that's what cools the water. Well, the 9700, the turbocharged version of this tractor, came standard with a 4-row radiator. They also, I think, had an 8-blade fan, but I'm going to run my 5-blade and see what happens. I don't know. We'll see. If there's any trouble, I'm going to add an electric fan. But anyway, we will be upgrading to a 4-row radiator, which is a little bit more money than I wanted to spend, honestly. But the way I see it is I don't think that radiator had ever been out of the tractor since 1977. And honestly, the tractor's in such good shape. I know I'm going to have this thing a long freaking time. So I don't mind putting the money into it now if it's going to save me a headache or two down the road. Well, that's basically an update on the tractor. Now we'll go through the parts that I got. And in case anybody was wondering, I have hardly any money into all of these parts. I'm still waiting on a couple things, which I'll get into. But all said and done, with shipping, I'm into this turbo kit for a little under $500 in parts. And honestly, that's pretty freaking good. So if anybody out there is looking to turbocharge a 6-cylinder Ford tractor, and honestly any tractor, because this is just basic parts, that it's really a turbo kit. Just your imagination is the limit, I suppose. Whatever your fabrication can come up with to make this work on your tractor, I think it's possible. Well, anyway, enough rambling on by me. Let's get into the parts, what everybody wants to see, all the shiny goodness. And I'll be sharing links to all the parts in the description of the video, and you guys can see the prices for yourself. Honestly, I can't believe I did it so cheap. but that's why I'm sharing it with you guys. Thanks for watching again, and if you like what I have to say, please subscribe, like, share, let your friends know. There's this guy on YouTube now turbocharging his tractor. I also have some big plans in the future, but we'll take it easy for now. So let's get to the parts. So we'll start off here first. Here's our turbo. It is a Chinese replica of a Garrett T04B90, which is designed to fit Alice Chalmers tractors. I know it fits a 7060, but it fits many other models. We've got T4 flange for the exhaust, for the inlet, and then we've got a T4 4-bolt on center flange for the outlet, which I thought I was going to have to get a flange custom made before I got the turbo and really measured it up. Turns out there's a company out there that makes them. They're cheap. You can get them on Amazon. So I need to get that. And also, while we're looking at the beautiful little turbo here, it has a T4 flange, which I did not know, but the turbocharged Fords, they had a T3 flange. And a T3 flange is in fact the flange that is on the 8700's original manifold, which I am replacing because the bolts are stuck in it and it's old and brittle, and quite frankly, if I'm hanging this big 3.5-inch stack off of it, I'm a little bit concerned about the thing cracking, even though I am going to add supports and make sure that this is done right. No half-ass stuff here. I mean, I got to be bouncing around the fields with it. I don't want to have any trouble. So the turbo looks really nice. I got this thing off Walmart.com, believe it or not. And I looked it over when I first got it, expecting to find something to complain about with it. But I'm going to pull these caps off here. If you look inside, it looks like a turbo in there. Spins nice. It really spins good. I was not expecting it to spin as freely as it does. There's a little bit of play in there, but there's not much play. For a journal bearing turbo, this thing's about as good as it gets. And honestly, I think the center section, if the parts are interchangeable with a T04B, next winter, if I plan on doing more as far as horsepower increases with the tractor, I may get an upgraded T04B rebuild kit and put all new bushings and thrust bearing and everything in this turbo, because quite frankly, I don't like buying cheap shit, but I mean, what can you go wrong with here? I can't imagine they only made one and I'm the guy that bought it. Couldn't find any reviews on it, but I guess that's up to me, guys, because I'm going to be doing long-term reviews of this setup, how it's working, how it affects the tractor. It's going to be educational for everyone, because I have no idea what's going to happen, but sure does look pretty. It's kind of neat, even though it's a Chinese knockoff. It's got the right part number stamped right into it. It says MX Turbone on it, whatever the heck that means. I think it's pretty funny though, and I'm hoping that when this thing's mounted up, you'll be able to see that. I don't know why, it's just a goofy thing. So we've got the turbo. Now we need oil. So we went over to Amazon. I'm sorry guys, I'm outside, the wind's blowing. Video might not be the best quality, but come on, this is cool stuff right here. We got new parts, Chinese stuff. So I ordered up a turbo oil feed and return line kit, and this fits the Garrett turbo. Everything matches up the way it's supposed to. So just a note, I'm leaving a link to this product in the description. This is a restricted oil inlet for this turbocharger. If any of you out there plan on buying this kit for a journal bearing turbocharger, you need to drill out that restriction. That restriction is only used on ball bearing turbos, and journal bearing turbochargers are designed for full oil flow. So I will be drilling that out before I install it. But the kit, I mean, it looks kind of cheap, but even here there's a piece of aluminum they didn't clean off the thing when they machined it. But everything looks alright. It came with all the AN fittings. Came with a really nice feed line, and that's what I was concerned about. I was thinking of building the lines myself, but once I saw how inexpensive this kit was, it was like $35.99. Once I saw how inexpensive it was, I was like, you know, even if I've got to get this stainless steel feed line remade, which I don't think so. I mean, a hose is a hose. We're only going to be seeing like 50 pounds of oil pressure. I think it'll hold up. But I think it was well worth it just to get that feed hose. Came with a piece of Dash 10 AN hose for the stainless braided hose for the return, which I'm hoping is long enough, but if it's not, I'm gonna buy a longer piece, but I'm pretty sure that'll be enough. Came with all the fittings. Didn't come with any instructions, but I didn't really expect it to. The turbo though did come with a piece of paperwork that explains the break-in process. Oh, I left it inside so it didn't blow away, but it came with a paper to describe the break-in process, what to do before you start the engine, all of that good stuff. So you've seen the turbo, you've seen the oil lines. Now we'll get into the exhaust side of things. So what I ended up doing, all these exhaust bends I've got here, I got two 90s and a 3 to 3.5 inch reducer from Speedway Motors. And I tell you what, I've worked with a lot of exhaust. This stuff is such high quality, made in USA, just regular steel, not stainless or anything. The price that they got for this, and again, it's in the description, I forget what I paid for it, but for these three pieces and what I got, I am very impressed. What I plan on doing is taking the 3 to 3.5 inch reducer, when I get my T4 4-bolt on center flange, welding the reducer to the flange, and it may end up with a little bit of a miter cut just to get me out from underneath my hood, but it's going to go 4-inch flange. Might have to use the two 90s in combination to get my stack up out of under the hood, but these are big 90s, so I'm hoping I can get away with miter cutting this just a little bit and possibly doing some work on just one of the 90s before I mount it all up, because I'm really just looking to get up out from underneath the hood with the whole setup. How that's going to happen, I do not know yet, but I've got a vision in my brain of that stack sticking up on that beautiful tractor over there, and that's what we're aiming for. I wish that I could I would draw a picture of it, but basically it's that tractor with a stack sticking out the side of the hood and a turbo on it. So we got a stack here, 3.5 inch painted black stack. Got it from Allstate's Ag Parts, which I also got the exhaust manifold for it. There's two sections to that, and I get all of my Baldwin filters and almost any part that I need that I don't want to go to the dealership for the 8700, I get from Allstate's Ag Parts. They have the best prices on the internet for Baldwin filters. I've shopped around, I've tried to find better prices for my tractor, my specific filters. I don't want to say everything. They have the best prices by far on all the filters that I need for that thing, and I like Baldwin filters. I'm not very particular. The older I get, I have less of a brand preference, but I like the price point, and that's why I buy them. They've been good to me. Got a rain cap too. That was about 18 bucks on Amazon. I almost wish I hadn't bought it, because after I bought it, I found the same one for like 8 bucks on a different website, but the shipping would have ended up being just about the same. So I also got the turbo boost piping kit, which I'll add a clip of me showing this system before I unboxed it. And alright, so with the boost piping kit, I read all the reviews before I ordered this thing. There were so many bad reviews, and I found it kind of hard to believe, because quite frankly it's aluminum pipe with some black paint on it. Comes with all the couplers and everything you need. I wanted to show you guys before I unboxed it, because a lot of people were complaining, oh, there were scratches on the paint, it was damaged. Look how nicely they packaged this. Like, yeah, it's a cheapo made in China freaking boost piping kit, but I mean, every single tube is bubble wrapped. Everything's neatly put away in here. It really fits in the box well. I don't know what people are expecting for $100 and something. Like, I got everything I need. I could plumb the whole turbo and have enough to do another tractor probably. Maybe I will. That gives me some ideas. So I just figured I'd share that with you as well. For the money here, I got a lot. We got some 3-inch, because the inlet of this turbo is 3-inch, and my existing intake piping is 3-inch. So trying to go with the 3-inch theme here. Came with 2 straight pieces, which this stuff, I don't know, there was bad reviews for this stuff. I really don't get it. Like, it's some aluminum pipe with paint on it, and apparently that's not good enough for some people, but we've got 2 straights, 2 45s, 2 90s, two U-shapes, which these are freaking great. I know I'm going to need one of these for sure, and I'm probably going to use most of this. It'd be cool to have leftover stuff because I like having leftover parts. Came with a whole bag of band clamps, and they're not the best, but for what I paid for this, like, they don't have the springs on the bands, but I can't complain because it was $108.99 for this whole kit, I think. And I'm sure that there's companies out there that this pipe would probably be just about that much, so I'll take it. Came with 290-degree rubber elbows, and these seem like they're made of quality materials. And people complained in the reviews about these couplers being a little short. They are right. These things are a little short. Like, you're gonna hardly have any room for a to hook two of them together and have the clamp on there. So if anybody out there is planning on doing any crazy boost or anything like that, I would recommend, if you buy this kit, buy some better couplings and better hose clamps, because you'll regret it, I believe. Now me, we're talking like, I'd imagine I'm only going to make 10 to 15 pounds of boost, if that. So I'm not too concerned, but I need to order. There's two more things that I don't have here to show you guys today. I need to order a T4 to T3 adapter for the turbo inlet for the exhaust side. And I also need to order, I think this was 2-inch when I measured it, but I need to get 3-inch to the whatever size this is. And if you can picture it, this thing's going to be sitting on my exhaust manifold. Say I'm on this side of the tractor, the exhaust is to the rear. I'm just going to put a 90-degree piece of rubber. I'm going to clock the turbo up more so that this is standing straight up practically. Just going to put a 90 on it and run it straight out of there. And I think they make the pipe that I need, so I've got to get that and the turbo adapter ordered up, which isn't going to be a big deal. It's actually quite cheap. I think the adapter is like $26, and the flange for the outlet for the exhaust side, that's about, I think I found one of them that was only like $15. So I've only got a few more dollars to spend to get this whole kit together. And I have to add that my price of $500 for everything does not include the extras that I'm doing, because I also am installing a coolant filter kit that we got from Rudy's Performance Diesel. And this looks like a pretty nice kit they set us up with. Came with the filter mounting block. Really nice quality. I'm surprised they machine a part like this so nicely and powder coat it all fancy. Like, it's gonna live under somebody's hood, like, really. But anyway, I like when people go above and beyond. Came with all the hardware. Came with some nice clamps and all the bolts and everything. All the T-fittings to adapt into the original system on your vehicle. Even these things, which I don't really know what they're for unless you already have existing small lines. Came with a bracket to mount the housing, and we've got a bunch of fittings, all the valves. They even sent a roll of Teflon tape with it, which is excellent. Who wants to be looking for Teflon tape when they got work to do? Came with what looks to be 3/8 silicone heater hose. There's quite a length of it here, and it looks like good quality. It looks just as good as the stuff they sell at the truck shop, so I'll take it. But I want to add a coolant filter kit to the tractor, not only to make it last longer, but to get any of the stop leak that I put in the radiator out of there. So I decided on the coolant filter kit here because I had sprung a leak over the summer on my radiator out in the field, and I didn't have time or the money, I guess you would say, to afford the downtime to take the radiator out to get it properly repaired. So I put the stop leak in there. I used Xerox cooling system stop leak, and it stopped the leak, and the tractor was fine. But I have a feeling that's why my cooling system, as far as my radiator goes, is completely plugged up. So I'm installing the filter kit to get the last of that crud out of there. I will be flushing the heater core, all the lines, and everything else is opened up right now, so it's going to get cleaned anyway. But I'm going to change this yearly and plan on having a tractor that lasts a long time. I like coolant filters. I don't know why they don't put them on everything, because it's just one more piece of insurance, really. You don't want any crud floating around in your cooling system, destroying your water pump or making things leak. So I would recommend, if anybody's doing any crazy mods to their vehicle, cooling system is one of the most important parts of a diesel engine. I would start there, honestly, if I was doing a build, no matter what it is, tractor, truck, anything diesel. You got to check out your cooling system, because if it's not staying cool, it's not staying running very long. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I don't know how soon I'm going to be getting back to working on this, because I'm waiting on the cylinder head and I'm waiting on the radiator, but shouldn't be long. I'll have it back together, get the thing going, and I'll be giving you guys updates. Definitely going to be done by spring, so I can give you that much. That's about as good as I'll say. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends, tell them they can turbocharge their Ford tractor for $500 in parts. Thanks everybody, Happy New Year, have a nice day.